Coach Mike Krzyzewski of Duke has the nation's #1 team and one of the country's best players in Johnny Dawkins. Virginia's Tom Sheehy helped make it tough for Duke in yesterday's ACC semifinal. Jay Billis put Duke in front for the first time in nearly 30 minutes. But Mel Kennedy put the Cavaliers back in front. And then David Henderson took charge for Duke with 2 3-point plays in the semifinal win. Later, Bobby Crimmon's Georgia Tech team won the tournament's most exciting game, led by Dwayne Farrell and Tech's 7-footer John Salley, who played outstanding defense against Maryland's Len Bias. With only seconds left, Maryland's Bias tied the game. But Georgia Tech's Mark Price lost the ball, setting up the play of the game and the tournament. Keith Gatlin's inbound pass was stolen by Dwayne Farrell, and the shocked Maryland team could only watch as Tech won. Lefty Driesell the loser, Bobby Crimmon's the winner, and today Crimmon's Georgia Tech team plays Duke, #1 in the nation, for the Atlantic Coast Conference Championship. It's next on ESPN.
Starting lineups now for the 33rd ACC Championship game. At center for Georgia Tech, 7-foot senior from Brooklyn, New York, #22, John Salley. At center for Duke, 6'8" senior from Rolling Hills, California, #21, Jay Billis. Georgia Tech, a 6'8" freshman from Crestview, Florida, #20, Tom Hammonds. At forward for Duke, a 6'5" senior from Drury, North Carolina, #12, David Henderson. At forward for Georgia Tech, a 6'6" sophomore from Towson, Maryland, #33, Dwayne Farrell. Arizona, #32, Mark Allery. At guard for Georgia Tech, a 6'4" junior from New York City, #45, Bruce Dalrymple. At guard for Duke, a 6-foot junior from Falls Church, Virginia, #4, Tommy Amaker. At guard for Tech, a 6'1" senior from Enid, Oklahoma, #25, Mark Price. For Duke, a 6'2" senior from Washington, D.C., #24, Johnny Dawkins. The coaches for Tech, Bobby Crimmons, and for Duke, Mike Krzyzewski.
How will a game be won? What are the keys to winning? Dan Bonner.
Georgia Tech has to avoid turnovers. Duke has a great portion of their offense built on opposition turnovers. They scored 22 points from turnovers yesterday. Georgia Tech's going to have to be careful. Georgia Tech's also thin, particularly along the front line, so they're going to have to avoid foul trouble. Duke is pretty strong inside. On the Duke end, they really have to win the battle of the backcourt. And the first time these two teams met, the Georgia Tech victory, the Georgia Tech backcourt scored 56 points. The last time the Georgia Tech backcourt in a Duke win scored only 24. And I think Duke really needs big games from their big three. That is Johnny Dawkins, Mark Allery, and David Henderson. In the 2 previous meetings, Henderson has not had good games. He ultimately may be the key today.
All the officiating has been good. The 3 chosen for the final: Lenny Wirtz, who will toss the ball up, Hank Nichols, and Joe Forte. And as Dan has alluded, Georgia Tech won the first game by 7, and then Duke blew out Georgia Tech in the second game by 16. Controlled by Georgia Tech's Tom Hammond. Then Mark Price will run the show as usual.
And what you'll see is the Duke Blue Devils right away in a man-to-man defense. They play it very well. They'll try to force the Yellow Jackets outside.
Hammond's on the drive. Nothing there. He had 16 against Maryland. And now there's the first turnover off the hands of Mark Price, and Duke's got the ball.
This is what Duke does, Jim. They force you into turnovers with that real tough defense, and although they're not going to come down and get a layup, say, off the turnover, in this particular case, they get a possession. We'll see what they can do with it.
Tommy Amaker, not an Achilles problem, we understand, but rather a heel problem. Dawkins has 2 today. He had 24 against Virginia yesterday and 16 the day before against Wake Forest.
Over the last 4 years, that's been a great matchup. Johnny Dawkins and Mark Price. You can see Amaker is going to guard Price on the Duke end.
Oh, look at that move, the defeat, but it's off the hands of Allery, and Hammond's controls. The 7-footer Salley. Yesterday's hero Farrell puts it up and in. It's a tie game.
Teams have very similar personnel. Dwayne Farrell plays a lot like David Henderson. It'd be nice for the Yellow Jackets if Farrell would have a big game.
Farrell had 20 against Clemson, 15 including the game winner yesterday. And there's the first foul of the game. Mark Price raises his hand.
We talked about David Henderson needing a big game today. There you see one of Henderson's biggest assets, that quick first step to the basket, drawing the foul against Mark Price.
Henderson, 2 3-point plays to wind it up yesterday, almost unheard from until then. Then 6 points to put it away against Virginia. Duke has had 2 tough days. Wake Forest unexpectedly tough when Duke looked lethargic, and yesterday the good Virginia team led until the final moments. It's 4-2 Duke.
Bruce Dalrymple now is going to bring the ball up the court. I think, Jim, this move is to make Johnny Dawkins work a little harder on defense.
Dalrymple, quite a leaper, goes up and has the ball stripped from him. Henderson comes down with it. Allery did the work. And here's Dawkins.
Duke's inside guys really help out on the man-to-man defense.
Here's Allery. He's having a great tournament, and short there, and no whistle, but now there's a whistle.
Jay Billis showed you what kind of strength he has. Mike Krzyzewski is not very happy about that call, but Jay Billis pulled that rebound down, and for heaven's sakes, Jim, he nearly got the ball up to the basket from flat on his back.
Another whistle as Farrell was driving.
Johnny Dawkins had Farrell on a switch that time, so now we've got both of the star guards with 1 foul. That's the first on Dawkins.
Capacity crowd, but that's not unusual for the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. The unusual thing is to find a free ticket or get a ticket from anybody for any session.
Or to try to get in here without a parking pass.
There's Price, and there's Henderson with the rebound on the shot that bounded long. Duke up by 2, looking for more. And there's a ball caught, intended for Allery by Farrell, and here comes Tech. Second turnover for Duke. And reaching in, and the ball bounding away. Caused him to take his eye off the ball, and there's a third turnover for Georgia Tech.
Both teams look to me to be a little bit tight at this point, Jim,
Wouldn't
and that's
you
not surprising. Well, I can't. The only experience that I've ever had in an ACC championship game is as a spectator.
Here's Allery, and he is fouled by John Salley.
The one constant for Duke in both games against Georgia Tech has been the fact that Mark Allery's played extremely well. Here you see Allery matched up against Tommy Hammonds. That's just a great positioning move by Allery, forcing John Salley to come over and help out.
81% on the season, but 10 for 11 from the free throw line in this tournament. 6 for 6 the first day, and 4 for 5 yesterday. Now, of course, he's 11 for 12 from the line, and Duke leads by 3.
In each of the previous games against Georgia Tech, Mark Allery has taken 16 shots and made 12, so he plays well against the Yellow Jackets. He
has started every single game in all 4 years at Duke University.
He and Johnny Dawkins, and this is 127, I think, Jim.
That's right. Duke by 4. Georgia Tech hasn't gotten started. Farrell tries to make something happen, has to feed inside to Dalrymple, who goes up a second of it, but Billis comes down with a rebound. They're missing the shots. They've had some shots underneath down there, but Tech has not been able to convert. Now there's almost yet another interception. That ball belongs to Georgia Tech.
Allery simply lost the ball. Now here you see Dwayne Ferrell with a move to the basket. Bruce Dalrymple, such strong hands inside. He missed that layup, but that's one of the reasons why he's such a good player, is that he's got that ability to operate inside.
3 minutes have now gone by. Not picture basketball at the moment. You know the intensity will pick up. Salley has no place to go for Allery there.
Duke's defense has been impressive thus far.
There's Hammonds, and he can hit. He's not Rookie of the Year in the ACC. You tell me who is. I'll give everybody else in the league.
I can't answer that question.
Oh, boy.
Hammonds has the meanest facial expression, I think, of anybody I've ever seen in this league.
Freshman out of Crestview, Florida. And there's a steal by Dalrymple. Dawkins trying, and Dawkins does knock the ball away from Dalrymple and save the basket. And there's Price, and Price gets called for a charge, backing into his man for Mark Price, his second foul.
We're seeing some great defensive basketball on both ends of the court. Bruce Dalrymple anticipates the pass and knocks it away from David Henderson. Now Dawkins saves a layup with that play right there. And now you're going to see right at the end of that, David Henderson came in and drew a charge against Price. Great defense.
There's Dawkins passing, but it's going out of bounds. Yet another turnover. Henderson had already left the area. That's the 5th turnover for Duke in the first 3 minutes and 58 seconds.
So we said good defense on both ends. Georgia Tech's got to be careful now. Price has 2 fouls. I think you'll see Johnny Dawkins attacking him every time.
Okay, now they're 5 apiece in the turnover department. 10 turnovers in 4 minutes of basketball. That's not good, but here's Dawkins, and Allery's follow-up misses. Here's Dalrymple to Price, the lead man. Price tipped in. No, Dalrymple misses another from under the basket. Had an easy layup earlier. Look at that defense of Duke. Good heavens, are they playing defense. 2-on-1. Here's Dawkins, great control. He's got the basket.
What a move by Johnny Dawkins. As you say, Jim, there's great defensive effort on both ends. I don't think it's bad offense. I think the teams are a little tight, but my goodness, what defense.
8-4 Duke, 15-10 to go in the half. There's Hammond by himself. It's 8-6. Remember, Georgia Tech is hanging in there without their #1 scorer even having taken a shot yet, Mark Price.
He has not taken a shot, and John Salley has rarely touched the ball, and both of those players have to get more involved in the offense for Georgia Tech.
The Devils by 2. Henderson with the shot, in and out. And tough offensive rebounding by Tech there. Salley, Price, Amaker on him. Price goes up, and the foul will be on Amaker.
People talk about the fact, Jim, that Mark Price might lack some quickness or lack some size. Well, I don't think he lacks any quickness at all. This is a good outlet pass by John Salley. Georgia Tech doing some real work on the boards. But watch Price explode here. Tommy Amaker's a very quick player, and that's just a nice move by Price to draw the foul.
And you just know that Mark Price, if he does not make both of these, it'll be a big upset. When he walks away from the foul line, it'll probably be 8-all. It is now, did I jinx him? 85% free throw shooter, and Price has missed the first.
And that was his first miss after making 28 straight in ACC tournament competition. So I think you did jinx him, Jim.
Not for very long. It is 8-7. Duke leads by 1. 14:38 to go. This is for everything in the tournament. It's for the championship. There have been 11 turnovers, 6 by Georgia Tech, 5 by Duke. The only 2 baskets scored by Duke in 6 tries are by Johnny Dawkins, and Georgia Tech is 3 for 7 from the floor. 14:38 to go. Blue Devils up by a point in the first half of the conference championship game. And by this evening, Sunday evening on the East Coast, we will know which 64 teams are on the way to the NCAA championships. And of course, the ESPN will be tracking them for you throughout the tournament. Duke to inbound the ball up by the point. Dawkins and Amaker, Billis in Allery and Henderson for Duke, Price, Ferrell, Dalrymple, Hammonds, and Salley, starting 5 for Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech at the moment showing a zone. This is something they do not do often, but they're just going to show Duke a different look. It's a 3-2 zone. Ferrell's out on the point. Now they've dropped back. Dalrymple's back inside. Jumper by Dawkins. It was a 2-3 zone. I think we're going to get a foul on Billis.
Billis gives us that sad look, which means yes, it is on him.
I think it's Mark Price. That Mark Price just went flying out of this play. Maybe we can see it here. There you get a look at the zone defense. Now Price pushed off against Dalrymple to get the ball.
That is going to be the foul on Billis, number 1. Price, the only man with more than 1, and he's got 2. He's got the ball also at the time. Passing off to Salley, in underneath, and Ferrell gets the jam. And we've got a Georgia Tech lead.
It's important that John Salley handle the basketball. He's a good passer inside, as he showed you right there.
Dawkins tries again. That's his second in a row he has missed. And neither shots have been sure shots. Ferrell's going to take one, and he's got it. And this hero of yesterday is now 3 for 3 from the floor, and Tech has got a 3-point lead.
Georgia Tech seems to be getting into the flow of their offense. Duke is going to have to start producing offensively.
Well, they've got nothing from Allery, Henderson, or Billis, or Amaker. There's a shot by Henderson. Here's Dawkins, the only man to score. That's a prayer there, but Allery's going to put it in.
Duke leads the Atlantic Coast Conference in rebound margin, Jim, and that's one of the reasons why. They don't have a lot of tall people, but they get good position underneath, and Mark Allery, Johnny Dawkins doing some good work.
Ferrell to Hammonds, who can hit from there and does, and that's 6 points for Tom Hammonds. He and Ferrell each have 6 of the 13 that Georgia Tech has.
It's scary how good Tommy Hammonds could be, Jim, if he improves so that he's the kind of a senior player that he's been as a freshman player. Like I say, it's frightening.
Lots of time on the shot clock. Amaker, a rare shot for him, and now a whistle blows.
It's going to be a foul against Dawkins,
which would be his second. He and Price both have 2.
Duke looks a little tentative attacking this zone defense. That shot may be slightly out of Amaker's range. Johnny Dawkins showing you some of his athletic ability. Unfortunately, he was over the back. As you say, Jim, now Dawkins has 2, Price has 2 as well, and Mike Krzyzewski just got a technical foul.
That'll be 2. Team fouls, 4 for Duke, 3 for Georgia Tech. Krzyzewski, usually low-key.
Jim, I think he presents the appearance of being low-key. He is one intense individual.
I don't know whether he did that out of frustration. Hey, Price is 1 for 3 now, or whether he did it to wake up his somewhat lethargic Duke team. They're playing very good defense. That Price 2 for 4. That is just horrible for him. But that's the biggest lead of the ball game. 4 points for Georgia Tech, 14-10. And of course, the Jackets get the ball back.
And of course, that was a very planned technical foul because Georgia Tech had the ball anyhow, so it's not a matter of losing possession.
Cost him a point. Salley. Oh. And it belongs to Duke. Well, one man is pointing one way, and now Joe Forte says, "You got it, Hank." It belongs to Duke.
Great defensive work by Mark Allery. It's important that Georgia Tech give the ball to John Salley or Tommy Hammonds to make Allery work on defense. Maybe try to get him in foul trouble.
Of the last 12 points, Tech has scored 10 of them.
It's this zone defense that has worked very well.
King is in and got it. During that timeout for the technical, or when the ball was dead, Billy King came in and replaced David Henderson. And he has just scored from the floor to make it 14-12. There's Salley. Salley working hard and does not get it, but does draw the foul.
So we said Georgia Tech going inside against Allery. Allery draws that foul. Allery's such a consistently good player for Duke that a very good way to keep him occupied is on the defensive end. Nice spin move by Salley. Allery anticipated, but Salley is 7 feet tall, and that's a tough job for Allery.
Gwen Snyder, freshman out of Mercer Island, Washington, number 14, replaces Johnny Dawkins. And Craig Neal is coming in for Georgia Tech as Salley hits the first of 2. He had 15 against Maryland, plus 5 rebounds yesterday. And there's Allery with the rebound. Georgia Tech by 3.
Georgia Tech goes right back to the man-to-man. They showed that zone a couple of times down the court. I'm sure we'll see it again.
There's Danny Ferry in for Billis. Good pass to Allery. And it's 15-14. So it's Allery, King, Ferry, Snyder, and Amaker on the court now. For Duke, and Neal is on the court, along with Hammonds, Farrell, Salley, and Dalrymple for Georgia Tech.
There's one big difference between this year's Duke team and last year's Duke team, Jim. They do have a little bit more depth.
Bad shot there by Farrell, but jammed in by Hammonds. Both your top guards are on the bench at the moment. Mark Price for Georgia Tech, Johnny Dawkins for Duke.
Tommy Hammonds continues to show some great ability. Tough spot for a freshman, and he's responding very well.
Well, let's face it, he's already played 30 games, so let's not call him a freshman, although he is of the freshman class. There's another good pass. Allery is fouled by Hammonds.
The Georgia Tech showing you nobody blocks out Tommy Hammonds. As Georgia Tech is showing you some good board work. Nobody got Hammonds. He was able to sneak right in there for the dunk.
Antoine Ford is coming on to replace John Salley, but time is called. We're in Greensboro for the championship game. 10:42 to go in the half. 17-14 Tech. Hammonds and Farrell. Hammonds is 4 for 4 from the floor. Farrell 3 for 4 from the floor. That helps Georgia Tech's 58% average, whereas Duke is shooting at 36%, 5 for 14. There's Ferry.
It also shows you how much I know about it. We talked about the backcourts, Jim, and the backcourts have been relatively quiet.
And the top two, as we said, are on the bench, meaning Price and Dawkins. Ferry going up in a big crowd.
Nice move by Danny Ferry. Antoine Ford in the game, giving John Salley a rest. Ferry with a nice spin move to the basket, got Ford out of the way and stuck it.
Billis, Henderson, Dawkins, 3 of the starting 5 ready to come back in for Duke. Neal, primarily a wing shooter, but he can handle a basketball.
Duke continues in the man-to-man.
That's off the hands of Snyder, and let's see, he's going to wind up with the Georgia Tech's Neal. But Duke is back defensively, and so Neal holds it up. Dalrymple off the glass, misses. Allery big, or rather Ferry, big strong rebound.
There's 3 Georgia Tech players laying on the court.
And Amaker drops it through. His first basket.
That's what you call a cinch 5-on-2 fast break, when you knock 3 of the other guys down before you come. Good play.
Blue Devils up by a point. Neal will try to change that. Does not. Good strong rebound, Billy King. Here comes Duke. They were down by 4. They're now up by 1, and they've got the basketball. There's Allery underneath. This should be 2 right here, and is.
Great pass inside by Danny Ferry. He doesn't play all that much. Of course, he plays a lot of minutes, but he's not a starter. Averages 23 minutes a game, but has 51 assists.
Bobby Crevin said that's enough already. Now Duke leads by 3. Duke is now on a 10-4 run. Remember, at one just a little while ago, Georgia Tech had scored 10 out of 12 points. Now Duke has scored 10 out of 14 points. Mark Price comes back in. Snyder stays in. Amaker goes out for Duke. Dawkins is in. Billis is back. The team with Ferry and Henderson.
Georgia Tech playing a very big lineup now with both their 7-footers, John Salley and Antoine Ford, in the game at the same time.
And Dalrymple out, and Neal is in for him. There's the alley-oop. Salley, first basket.
Duke went to sleep a bit on defense. A back screen got John Salley loose, got him away from Jay Billis. Good pass by Neal.
Duke by a point. 8:35 left in the half. There's Ferry with those good passing knobs. Henderson tries to keep it alive, and Dawkins makes a nice play. Here's Henderson. On the floor is Henderson, and it'll belong to Duke on the jump. Possession to Duke.
Henderson went up, but the ball stayed down. That's some pretty good defense inside. There you see Jay Billis just at the top of your screen as John Salley comes into the picture in the bottom. He got picked off. Good screen by Mark Price. Georgia Tech back now in the man-to-man, which they've played effectively as well.
Oh my heavens. Anderson is blocked to the ground.
John Salley was coming over to help out. That was a good pass inside. Henderson spun a little quicker than I thought Salley was ready for. There's Salley right there. I think he expected Henderson to turn the other way.
That's 2 fouls on John Salley. Now Dwayne Farrell, who went out in foul trouble yesterday, only to return for the last second heroics against Maryland, goes out and Dalrymple replaces him. Henderson will be at the line. He's 2 for 2 from there today. Snyder goes out. Amaker comes back in.
Maybe a key point for Georgia Tech, Jim, that both Salley and Price have 2 fouls. I think both those fellas have to be careful. They don't want to get that third in the first half.
The missing man on the Duke starting 5 is Allery with 8 points. He's on the bench. Ferry is playing for him. Yes, and Salley with a rebound. 21-19. Duke. Lots of motion by Georgia Tech. They can move that ball around.
It's good ball movement and some nice cutting inside.
Dalrymple tries and no, and Ferry with a rebound. Lots of movement with and without the ball, but they come up empty, and here comes Duke. Henderson, the fall-away jumper, way too long. Billis has got it, wrestled away from him, but a foul is called.
Jim, that's a perfect illustration on that last play of the fact that you don't have to be 7 feet tall to play inside. Henderson shoots the ball. Neal actually hits him on the arm, but look at Jay Billis with position. He used that great strength of his to get position on Antoine Ford and drew the foul from Bruce Dalrymple.
Allery back in the ball game.
Mike Krzyzewski's talking to David Henderson on the sideline. Henderson has seemed to be pressing early in the game, and Krzyzewski just wants him to settle down.
Well, they know that David will be there in the last couple of minutes if they need him. That's where he usually really shows up. Allery can't get the shot away, and he's double teamed there. So Amaker will slow it down.
You better believe Allery's going to go right after John Salley with those 2 fouls.
And he works.
Now Bruce Dalrymple has picked up his 2nd foul as well. So Georgia Tech, who had to avoid foul trouble, is now maybe in a little bit of foul trouble.
And in a 1-on-1 situation already.
Allery recognizing the mismatch inside, gets it in there to Danny Ferry.
Excuse me, Dan.
Not much contact inside. That was a tough call.
Danny Ferry, not Danny Bonner. Danny Ferry is a rather good free throw shooter, a little bit better than 60%. 6'10", USA Today's Player of the Year a year ago. Has started many games this year when Billis was still sidelined with a bad knee. That's something to come down to a team that's supposed to be, quote, challenging for #1 in the nation. Winds up, at least at this juncture, as #1 and have to start your first 10 games as a freshman.
Well, you'd have to say his basketball background was impeccable coming into Duke.
Not only his dad, Bob Ferry, but the school he attended.
That's right.
High school. Duke by 4. That's their biggest lead. Georgia Tech had a lead of 4. 7:10 to go. Price is allowed to go all the way in, and that is his first points from the floor today.
Now, he won't get one, but it's possible that Jay Billis should have an assist on that play. He hit that ball and I think actually helped guide it in the basket. Ferry still posting up inside against Bruce
Amaker, good move off the glass and 2 points.
Amaker's a sneaky guy, Jim. He's not a big scorer except when he needs to score. He really has the ability to produce offensively.
Only threw up 1 shot in the first game of the tournament against Wake Forest. Was much more active yesterday. Henderson getting ready to come back in for Duke. Billis intercepts that pass intended for Salley. And now Dalrymple tries to make something happen and cannot. Here's Dawkins all the way. And he is fouled by Neal.
That was an unbelievable move by Johnny Dawkins. He catches the ball going one direction and changes direction so quickly. Now here we're talking about Amaker's ability to score. Gets Price out of the way with the fake and drills it. Watch Johnny Dawkins. He's going to catch the ball. What a great stop and a quick move to the basket. That's an excellent call. Neal moved underneath. But what an athlete.
This is there. And Price is furious at the call under the basket on one of his teammates.
Foul's called against Tom Hammonds. He came down with the rebound with a lot of people hanging all over him. Tried to clean out the area and knocked Johnny Dawkins down. You can see Hammonds in there. He gets called with that elbow against Dawkins.
Well, Dawkins, who just missed, will go back to the line.
No, he's not coming. It's a player control foul.
I'm sorry. Dawkins was at the line. I think he thought he was going to shoot until he saw the setup.
At least he could try.
He fooled me. Not the officials. Biggest lead of the game for any team. Duke by 6. 6 minutes to go. Dawkins again. Not that time. And there's Salley going up high, and the ball belongs to Georgia Tech. Tell you, all of the players today on both squads are pleading more with the officials than we've seen them in the previous 6 games here.
Anything to get an edge, Jim. Duke really doing an impressive job on the boards.
There's Price. This is his shot there, but that's off the front of the rim, so he'll get a second try, and he's 1 for 2.
And those are the first 2 outside shots he's taken. Duke has done a nice job keeping the ball away from Mark Price.
Price has 6 points, 2 for 4 from the line.
Here's see Georgia Tech back in that 2-3 zone.
Amaker takes the shot. Nope. And there's a good rebound by Ferry, taken away by Price on a good defensive play.
Can't dribble the ball in there as a big guy, Jim.
Dalrymple clubbed by Henderson.
Both these teams play so very well in transition. Cardinal sin of a big man is to dribble the ball in traffic. Danny Ferry does a nice job getting the rebound, but he's off balance. And as he tries to collect himself with the dribble, Mark Price just takes it.
Dawkins stays in. Billis is back. Henderson is there. Ferry's there. And Billy King comes in.
There's the tail end of the play. Mark Price finishing off the fast break to Dalrymple, who was underneath the basket battling for the rebound. He can really get up and down the court.
Georgia Tech going with something they've used many times. That's their 3-guard offense. And we will caution you that Dalrymple, with all his leaping ability in at 6'4", can play the small forward spot. But we'll call it a 3-guard offense. As Dalrymple gets both of them.
Sometimes, Jim, with his ability to play inside, Dalrymple we're speaking about, you'd almost think that Georgia Tech's actually playing with a 1-guard offense. Now Georgia Tech going to show a half-court zone trap.
Lead was 6. It's down to 2. Allery, and he is fouled by Neal. And that'll be Craig's second foul. So Craig Neal has got 2, Dalrymple 2, Price 2, Salley 2, Hammonds 2.
Mark Allery moves so well without the ball. There's Johnny Dawkins. He's got over 500 assists in his career. Excellent pass. Allery powering it up. The foul by Neal. Neal was a little late. If he's going to slap at that ball, it's got to be when Allery dribbles it. By the time Allery picks up the dribble, it's too late.
Allery 12 of 13 in the tournament from the line. And continues his good free throw shooting. He now has 9 points. 3 out of 5 from the floor, and he's 3 for 3 from the line today. And
with what he's done against Georgia Tech in his career, you better believe Bobby Cremins would be happy to see him go.
Off the hands of Henderson. 28-25, 4:43 left. First half. Little to choose, although Duke has had the largest lead of the day, 6 points. It's down to 3. Neal getting a lot of playing time. And he took that extra little step, didn't he? Father Stan, the coach back in Indiana, said, come on, Craig, you know better than that. That's the 9th turnover for Georgia Tech.
Father Stan?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
He is a coach back there at high school, and Neal played for him. Craig played for his dad.
Oh, it's his dad you're talking about. Okay.
We call him father sometimes ourselves. You're a father. You should know that, bud. Here's Allery, and he's going to take the shot. No good. Battle for it. Billis brings it down.
And a battle for it is exactly the word. The teams are starting to get after one another on the backboard.
There's Henderson, and that looks good. And David has his first basket, but that's 5 points for him. 3 from the line. And it's back up to Duke by 5.
Duke stays in that man-to-man defense.
There's an interception by Allery, but he can't hold on to it.
Now, Tommy Hammonds is a big fella, and he usually does a nice job getting position inside, but Allery with some good defensive play to get around.
Danny Ferry's on his way in. He'll take the place of Billy King for Duke. 3:46 left in the half. Duke by 5.
It's been fun to watch both these teams develop, Jim, watching these guys play for 4 years.
Here's Price. Covered up by Henderson.
Duke doing a nice job getting close to Mark Price to prevent him from getting that shot off.
Price. Foul. Henderson saying, me?
I've never met a player yet that ever committed a foul or thought he committed a foul. Price showing you some quickness out front, just getting by Henderson on that spin move.
Shocker to Mark Price fans was when he absolutely had the ball taken away from him by Long of Maryland yesterday, the last 10 seconds. That's like missing a couple of free throws, which he's already done today. You don't expect to see it. Now he is 3 for 5 from the line and has 7 points.
It's like David Henderson's having a problem with a contact lens.
Okay, guys.
This is okay.
Make sure it's gone.
It's tough when you lose one of those babies. It's hard to see, or suddenly it's blurred in one eye.
8 points for Price, 30-27. Turnover belongs to Tech.
Nice job by Georgia Tech getting back on defense is what created that play. Johnny Dawkins looked like had about 4 things running through his head what he was going to do. Nice play by John Salley, sort of bollocksed up the works for Dawkins.
3:20 left in the first half. Salley is going to take it and off the front of the rim, and Dawkins has it.
4 on 2.
Dawkins is going to book up, and this is his shot right there. Loves that shot. 8 points for Johnny Dawkins.
If Duke gets out in transition, Georgia Tech might really be in trouble.
Amaker and Allery getting ready to come back in for the Blue Devils.
Mike Krzyzewski has used his bench well so far. His guys ought to be fresh in the second half.
And Georgia Tech does not have that kind of bench. They go forward and kneel deep, and that's about it. Farrell, one of his rare shots lately.
He's going to get the basket, and we're going to get a foul against Billy King, moving underneath Farrell. Bobby Cremins aggressively explaining something to Bruce Dalrymple. Dalrymple with the screen there knocks King off balance, and you can see King clearly moves underneath Farrell. How in the world does a guy make a shot like that?
I don't know. You didn't make many like that, obviously.
No, it's tough to score from where I was sitting.
Here's Farrell with 8 points. 9 points for Farrell, last year's Rookie of the Year. Dalrymple was Rookie of the Year in the ACC before that, and Mark Price before him, and Tom Hammonds is going to be that this year. This is Ferry with Salley on him. 2 big men. Duke by 2, but Allery has a ball blocked away beautifully.
Salley came and got it.
And Dalrymple ties it.
Good defensive play by John Salley. But Mark Allery was showing you getting position there what 4 years experience means as opposed to 1. He's just owning Tom Hammonds inside.
There's a good pass from Ferry to allow Allery to get the shot away, and now Ferry comes back with a great height, and that is not a bad looking shot there.
Danny Ferry eventually had to shoot that ball, but it's a very discouraging feeling when you have it inside. There's a 7-footer staring at you. You pump fake, and the guy stands there and looks at you. But he was able to freeze Salley to the floor with those pump fakes and get the hook off.
Hammonds. Oh, and there's Henderson with the rebound. A minute and a half to go in the first half.
Pace has picked up in the last couple minutes.
Duke by 2, led by 6.
Georgia Tech back to man-to-man as they have been the last couple trips.
There's Henderson off the glass, and be controlled by Salley.
Good defense by Dalrymple.
Price, no sir, not that one. And there's Allery, good strong rebound.
3-on-1.
Here it is, Henderson pulls up short, he misses.
Great
No
defense
whistle.
by
King
Dwayne
wants
Farrell.
a whistle under the basket, but gets none.
Right, everybody was yelling at Joe Forte, but I thought that was a good no call.
They could use most of the clock. 30 seconds on the shot clock, 43 seconds on the game clock. Ferrell from outside, and Ferrell now has 11 points, and it's a tie game with a half minute to go. Now Duke can go for the last shot.
John Salley showing you his passing ability inside. He drew the defense to him and got it to the wide open Ferrell. Georgia Tech back in the zone. It looks like a 1-2-2, but once they pass it, they'll go back.
They've been yelling at Henderson, Danny, and getting David a little tough to move. Now he figures out what he's got to do. Amaker takes it in, and he is fouled on the
goaltending.
That's goaltending. They'll give the basket to Amaker. There is no foul, and it's a 36-34 game with 7 seconds to go in the half.
Georgia Tech's showing a zone, but Dwayne Ferrell follows Amaker down the baseline. Amaker beats him. John Salley coming over to help.
I tell you what, a lot of these players out there are going to be glad to see the last 7 seconds go. A lot of them are puffing. Yeah, it's been a pretty tough game lately, and there's King with a good, and off the glass, and a foul is called, blocking, and let's see who's down on the floor. Is that Hammonds? If so, that is his third, and that can hurt. In the last 7 seconds to draw your third personal foul.
Now, one thing you want to do as a coach is to have your team get the ball inbound safely in that situation. A great defensive play by Billy King. Now, of course, the adventure for Duke here is when Billy King goes to the free throw line, it is an adventure. He shoots less than 50%.
Although in the tournament, he's done very well.
Hammonds throwing the ball away, trying to get it to Dalrymple, but gets it to King instead, and then Hammonds trying to make the defensive play, moves underneath.
Anthony Sherrod will finish up these last 4 seconds for Georgia Tech, putting Hammonds on the bench so he won't get a fourth. King, see, I tell you, in this tournament, he looked like he is a great free throw shooter.
Georgia Tech does have the foul trouble.
Good looking motion, but that's not a good shot there. And here's Price throwing it up at the last moment. And the half ends with Duke up by 3. Had led by 6. By 3, they go to the dressing room. Bobby Cremins is mad. Tom Hammonds is in the worst foul trouble. He's got 8 points, but 3 personal fouls. At the end of the first half, Duke leads Georgia Tech 37-34 for the ACC championship. In Greensboro, North Carolina for the championship game, Jim Simpson, Dan Bonner. It is 37-34. Duke leads Georgia Tech, and here are the halftime stats.
Some interesting thing in the halftime stats. You'll notice that Duke has forced 10 turnovers on the part of Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech shooting a better percentage from the field, but Duke has 5 more shots, and I think that's a key. Duke also out-rebounding Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech in a little bit of foul trouble. Hammonds with 3, both Price and Salley with 2.
On the other side of the coin, only Henderson and Dawkins have 2. Nobody nearly in trouble for Duke University, which used a lot of folks off the bench in that first half.
They got some good play off the bench. Danny Ferry came off the bench and scored 6. Billy King came off the bench and scored 3. There you get a look at Georgia Tech scoring.
Ferrell with 11, no fouls at all. He's had a good tournament. Hammonds with 8 with those 3 fouls. Price 8. Dalrymple 4. He had none yesterday. And Salley with the 3 points, but 7 rebounds. Allery 9 points, but he's got 4 rebounds. Amaker 8 points. Dawkins 6. Ferry 6. Henderson 5 with 2 fouls. And the man who's not on the board is Jay Billis. He has not scored, but does have 4 rebounds. Possession will go to Georgia Tech as we begin the second half.
I think Georgia Tech needs to create some sort of situations where Mark Price gets some more shot opportunities and where John Salley handles the ball more frequently. Both those individuals have to get more involved in the offense.
Same starting 5s. Hammonds, Ferrell, Salley, Price, Dalrymple for Georgia Tech. Allery, Henderson, Billis, Amaker, and Dawkins as Salley takes it in. Waved off, and Salley draws his 3rd personal foul for a charge.
Well, obviously Georgia Tech saw things about the same way that we did, Jim. They went right to John Salley with mismatched inside against David Henderson, but Henderson making a nice play, stepping in and drawing the charge. Bobby Cremins is very upset about that call.
He's got 3 men, and he's not deep, remember. He's got 3 men in foul trouble. There's a feed into Allery and Henderson. decides to keep it going. Now here's Allery, or rather Billis, off the glass, no good. Hammonds, and Billis over the back with his second foul.
It's really a tough shot that Jay Billis tried to make, a turnaround shot, and he actually tried to bank it in, and it's tough banking it in from in front of the basket. Billis, good, strong position. He's up there in good shape, but as you see, he tries to bank the ball, and it's just too hard.
No scoring thus far in the Young second half.
About the way the game started with turnovers and fouls.
We had 10 turnovers in about the first 7 minutes.
Good defense by Duke.
Rice.
It's a pass. 21. There you go.
Gonna get a
21. That's Billis, and that's his third, his second of this half.
Lenny Wirtz very obviously telling everybody it's a pass. This is created by Salley. Watch the way Salley hands the ball off and screens Amaker at the same time, forcing Billis to come over and help. Foul was called on Billis while Price was passing the ball.
We've gone better than a minute without a score. That's Price and Dawkins, the All-Americans, and there's a good feed, and dragging that foot. Ferrell, was he intimidated? He got down there and saw Billis and tried to put on the brakes and could not stop.
Now Billis is not a shot blocker, but he makes a nice move coming in. That's the way you play offside defense. Man is loose. Billis came over and caused the turnover.
And now Duke will try to get something going. They've only had one shot in this half, and that was the shot by Billis.
Got a minute and a half without any score.
Well, that answers your question. Johnny Dawkins now has 10 points. And Duke leads by 5.
Price continues to not be very involved in the offense, and I think you have to give some credit to Amaker and Dawkins defensively.
Remember, as we watch Hammonds here, and that's Allery with the rebound, that Georgia Tech trailed Maryland most of the way until the final seconds yesterday before they pulled it out on that steal by Ferrell in the basket.
Georgia Tech in the man-to-man as well, and as we mentioned, both Hammonds and Salley have 3 fouls.
Anderson almost fouled by Price, which would have been his third. No call.
Some pretty aggressive defense by Georgia Tech as well.
15 seconds on the shot clock. Dawkins, no good, and the point to Dalrymple, and that will be his third, thank you, on the floor.
Johnny Dawkins is really the great equalizer against some good defensive work on the part of Duke's opponents. 45-second clock running down, so you just clear out and let Johnny Dawkins operate one-on-one. Good screen by Allery. I didn't see the foul on Henderson. It looked like he got, or on Dalrymple, looks like he got much the worst of the deal.
Dawkins is 0 for 2 from the line today. Five for 10 from the floor. He's got a couple of rebounds and knocks that through. And they're up to a 6-point lead. That's been the biggest of the day. They had that back in the first half, and now Dawkins can give Duke a 7-point lead. And does. 4 points in this half for Johnny Dawkins. 12 altogether. 41-34.
Have an important possession coming up here for Georgia Tech. Duke plays such good defense that if Georgia Tech gets too far behind, they'll have a difficult time coming back. Good defense by Duke.
Some people call it tenacious defense. Dalrymple just simply had no place to go with the ball, and now the feed underneath, out of bounds, and still belongs to Georgia Tech with 13 seconds on the shot clock.
Not only does Duke aggressively pressure the ball, Jim, but they play in those passing lanes so well and come over and help out. Now look at the defensive set there. Watch Allery, he's going to come over and help out. Good play.
Back live, Hammonds takes the shot. Dalrymple and Henderson go up for it. Jump ball, possession goes to Duke. And now they can go up by 9.
Some good defensive work by Duke. That last replay we had was a picture-perfect way that you're supposed to play defense.
Allery is awfully good from there. And there's your 9-point lead and 11 points for Allery. It's 43-34. Time is called. And remember, Georgia Tech has not scored a single point in the second half, and Duke has scored 6. 16:40 to go in the championship game here in Greensboro. 43-34 Duke. 16:40 to go, and the last 9 points of the game have been scored by the Blue Devils of Duke. And Georgia Tech's going to try a little pressing defense here.
Duke is showing
I'm saying Duke is going to try pressing
Duke
defense.
is not about to call off the dogs, Jim. They've got Georgia Tech on the run, and they'd like to keep them that way.
Tech is going to have to make something happen. Duke is a very fundamentally sound, poised, confident team.
Watch a couple of times just how far outside Duke makes you start the offense.
Price steps around Henderson and misses the shot, and Allery with a good rebound over Hammonds. And Dalrymple goes to the floor. Allery with 5 rebounds. And Duke can go up by 11. Whistle underneath. And Allery said, aye? Yeah, they said yes, and that's his second.
Allery battling for position inside against Dwayne Farrell. These guys bang around together so much in there, Jim. I don't know how they ever decide who they're going to call the foul on.
Maybe if they haven't done one lately.
Allery's fortunate he didn't get a foul or a violation called right there. You can't be swinging your arms around inside.
Georgia Tech with the break there. Here's Price. So instead of going up by 11, they have a chance now, and there's another foul.
I think that's on Billis. No, it's Mark
Allery. And that's his third. 2 in the last 15 seconds of play. And so Danny Ferry's being rushed in to give Mark Allery a chance to sit down and escape further trouble here.
Allery has been playing well offensively and on the boards for Duke. Have to see how his loss, although it's only temporary, will affect it.
Well, Ferry, remember, has got 6 points. Hammond's taking the shot, and Hammond scores. And that's the first point of the second half for Georgia Tech. Ferry's been playing well. 6 points, 4 rebounds in the first half. He's in there now, all 6-10 of them. Alley-oop to Price. Well, I'm sorry, it was to Amaker, or to Dawkins. I'll get it right. Yeah, Price is the man. Looked like he was ready for the alley-oop, and Price is not on today at all.
That was not a good shot, Jim. He really needed to stop and take the squared-up jumper rather than that runner.
Remember, he's not hitting as many free throws as he normally does, and he's only got 4 points. He's not shooting well from the floor, and when Mark Price has an off day, that's an off game for Georgia Tech. Anderson trying to drive by, and yes, he finally draws the foul. And that is Farrell, and that is his first.
David Henderson can put pressure on you in a lot of ways. Now here, Johnny Dawkins and Tommy Amaker trying to team up for the alley-oops. Not a good pass, but Mark Price did an excellent job keeping his body up against Johnny Dawkins, so Dawkins never really had a jump at the ball.
You know that Price had the best chance at the ball. Looked like he was the man, but he's in the wrong uniform. Here's Henderson, hit 3 in a row, has now missed his last 2 in a row. Has 5 points.
Mark Price is not your leaper, Jim. Seen him do a lot of things in this league in 4 years, but never catch an alley-oop.
Almost had one there. And now Henderson has his first point of the second half. And that's a 9-point lead with 5 minutes gone in the second half. Long way back for Georgia Tech. Dalrymple tries to get him back in a hurry, and no, and Henderson with the rebound, battling his teammate Billis Fort. Lead pass to Dawkins, and Dawkins is fouled by Hammonds. And for Hammonds, that is his 4th.
Dawkins on the fast break is a very dangerous commodity coming down the court. Dalrymple takes the jump shot. As you can see, every shot that Georgia Tech gets is a contested shot. Henderson with the rebound. Now watch him get the ball ahead to Dawkins. Dawkins, so smart, uses the basket to protect himself from Hammonds and draws the foul.
And that wasn't a good foul for Hammonds with almost 15 minutes to go on 3 personal fouls. Now he's put himself in a hole and put himself on the bench. And Craig Neal comes in to replace him.
That's a very good point, Jim. There are times in a breakaway situation like that where you just have to let the guy go.
Dawkins liable to can 2 anyway, being the kind of free throw shooter he is. But as I say that, he is now 2 for 5 today from the line, and he's a good free throw shooter. Never can tell at the end of 3 days of tough competition.
That's right. That's right. A lot of that free throw shooting is in the legs, and sometimes those legs don't have the same spring in them on the 3rd day.
About 14.5 minutes to go. Georgia Tech still looking for some offense. Price gives it to him.
Johnny Dawkins got picked off on a screen by John Salley. Price aggressively taking it to the basket, and for once today, Duke did not help well.
That's a shot that hits the front of the rim by Dawkins. Here comes Tech willing to run with the ball. There's Salley over Ferry.
And Mark Price is really mad. He's asking for a foul. Bobby Cremins has to be careful he doesn't get a tee.
5-point lead was 9, 14 minutes to go.
Boy, Craig Neal just elbowed Danny Ferry, and Ferry's looking at Lenny Wirt saying, well, what was that?
There's Ferry underneath to... Oh, that's a good play there by Billis. Outstanding. Could have been called with a walk. Got the ball away. Well, remember in the first, excuse me, Dan, but remember in the first game of the tournament, Georgia Tech and Clemson, all the battling that was going on in that one. This is the same kind of physical game here. Clemson came out to intimidate one way or the other. It did not work. There's Ferry. He's determined to take the shot, isn't he?
Charge.
And he gets the charge. And Ferry now has his first personal foul. And he just wanted the shot no matter what.
Georgia Tech has picked up the defensive tempo, and as a result, Duke not really playing within the context of the offense. You said it, Jim. Ferry decided he was going to take that shot as he started to dribble, and that's always a bad idea.
13:25 to go. Duke's 9-point lead is down to 5. Five-point lead for Duke, but each team is shooting 47%. Top rebounder John Salley with 7, all of those in the first half. 25-40, 13:25 to go. Here's your foul trouble. Hammonds with a foolish foul there on the breakaway by Dawkins. 4. Dalrymple and Salley 3 apiece, and Bobby Cremins does not have that kind of bench. He's really got to work, but he is a great bench coach, and he has done a lot with 7 men this year.
Boy, he sure has. He's probably one of the more colorful coaches in the league with that mop of hair that he's got and the way he waves his arm around.
He's the only man to play and coach an ACC tournament championship game. Salley's determined and does the job. John Salley. Good, strong work under the boards.
Nice quick steps and spins inside. Salley can really be a silky player in there.
Well, Dan, Tech has come back. It's a 3-point game.
And Tech is now playing zone on defense. Now they start out, they show you a 3-2, but then on the passes it's a 2-3, and Duke continues to have problems with the defense.
Up.
See John Salley with the move. Keeps that pivot foot. Nice step to the basket. That's really some classy inside play right there. Fouls on Price.
Well, here's Dawkins again at the line. Johnny is 3 for 6 from the line.
John Salley's got something in his eye.
Tell you what, when you're working with 7 men, Neal and Ford 6 and 7, and you got Hammonds with 4 personal fouls, Salley with 3, Price with 3, Dalrymple with 3, you get the feeling somebody's gunning for you. And now John Salley is walking over with that eye problem, whether it be a contact or not.
It appears to be a contact lens.
Now he's got to get down on one knee for the man to look him square in the eye. Bob's using this chance to give a little coaching here.
That's right. Bobby Cremins isn't going to miss any opportunities.
He's not out there saying, how's your eye, Johnny? So this is what I want you to do.
Now Price and Dalrymple coming over for a conversation as well.
All right, put Dawkins back at the line.
One problem, Jim, that you have with playing a zone defense if you're normally a man-to-man team is lots of times you lose the block-out responsibilities, and Dawkins was able to get in because nobody blocked him out.
Boy, he just cannot hit today. 3 for 7.
Don't know that I've ever seen Johnny Dawkins have that kind of a day at the free throw line.
This could be a different kind of ball game if he's hitting them all, or nearly all. 4-point lead. 12.5 to go. Token pressure only shown by Duke as Price brings it up court.
Dawkins is going to guard him, but he's got to stay away from him because Price has a good quick step and can get around.
There's Salley loose.
That's great ball movement. John Salley got excellent position and then just waited till the ball swung around to the other side.
Down by 9. Tech has now scored 8 of the last 9 points and trail only by 2. Dawkins, just lost the ball off the back of his hand. And here may be too long a throw because underneath is Ferrell, and he is fouled, and the Duke man who fouled him is down. But I think he's going to be able to get up all right.
That's David Henderson. He ran into...
Well, he ran. The fellow they're holding the mouth, the towel to the mouth, is one of the NBC technicians, and I think he got it right in the mouth.
I think he did. Henderson coming down. That was a tough pass by Neal. Ferrell did well to even catch it. See Henderson reaching in there and giving him a pat. Get a look at John Salley, who's suddenly come to life in the second half. Great pin move there on Allery. Dunks it in. You see Dawkins, nobody was on Dawkins at the moment, at that particular moment. He just lost the ball. Now here's the pass by Neal. That's a tough pass. Ferrell's actually under the basket, has to come back. There's Henderson flying through. He fouled Ferrell as he came up with the foot. You're right, he got that fellow right there, right in the mouth.
Oh yeah, he has been with NBC for some time. He will now move back a little bit, and I think he's going to be all right, although his teeth might be a little bit loose. 12 minutes to go. Duke 46, Georgia Tech 44. And a foul was called, as we told you, on the way down.
Georgia Tech with a chance to tie. They've done a nice job coming back in the game. As you said, Jim, they were down by 9 points.
Henderson now with 3 personal fouls also. And at the line is Ferrell. He's done everything well, but all 11 of his points have been in the first half. 5 for 6 from the floor, 2 for 2 from the line.
That's a real good run by Georgia Tech to get themselves right back in the game.
There's Ferry with a rebound. The 1-point game.
Georgia Tech back into the zone. It's an active zone.
Amaker, no, short, and Ferrell with the rebound, and here's Neal all by himself. Amaker, he blew the shot. Amaker destroyed him, and Craig Neal absolutely blew the dunk. Had the easy layup, went for the dunk, and blew it. You're right, Jim. There's no reason to go for the dunk in this play. He's got the layup. Bit of a hot dog move right there. That may cost the Yellow Jackets. Amaker. And here's Neal again. 2-on-1. He'll give it to Price this time, and Price takes the layup. And it is Georgia Tech at one time just moments ago down by 9, up by 1.
The zone defense has worked well for Georgia Tech today.
Henderson, that's not a good shot. Ferrell. Duke is hurrying its offense, trying to crack that zone. Price to Salley, and there's Georgia Tech on its way. 8 points for Salley in this half, and 13 altogether. And Mike K. Krzyzewski says, hey, let's call a halt to this. You're on a run. There's been a 12-point swing. Georgia Tech 49, Duke 46. Moments ago, Tech was down by 9. They lead by 3.
Yellow Jackets have had a tough time all day playing against Duke's set defense, but the last couple of minutes, Duke hasn't been set.
And we've seen Dawkins, and then Ferry, and then Henderson determined to shoot instead of working the ball around with lots of time on the shot clock. They just have gone to work as though I got to make something happen instead of we have to make something happen.
That's why Mike Krzyzewski called the timeout to get him set in that zone offense.
Billy King has come back in. Billis and Allery taking that shot, and he is off the mark, and Ferrell absolutely caught Billis flat-footed there and goes over him to get the rebound.
Now, when Duke's going to miss, they can't be standing around trying to slap the ball away from a rebounder. They've got to get back on defense, and they did well that time.
Oh, there's a reach in and a foul by Billis, and that will be his 4th.
We said right at the top of the second half, Jim, the one thing we thought Georgia Tech would try to do is go inside to John Salley. And in the last few minutes, we've seen that. They've tried to put the ball in John Salley's hands. They've had some success because Salley's working very hard in there.
#1 team in the nation, led by 9, now find themselves down by 3, and it could be 5 if Salley gets both of these. That's quite a swing.
The game is being held up while we get a piece of pom-pom off the court.
Remember, Duke has won 15 in a row, 31 out of 33, and the last time these two met, they destroyed Georgia Tech by 16. Now there's a miss, a big miss, and Billis with those 4 personal fouls by our count.
Georgia Tech stays in the zone.
Oh, they got the ball into Allery there, but the ball won't go down. And if Salley draws a foul, he's working with 4 personal fouls.
The foul is against John Salley. Once again, Mark Allery showing you some great movement without the basketball. Movement without the ball works against the zone just as well as a man-to-man. Allery moving into the lane. To be honest with you, I don't see where the foul is on John Salley. It looks like the foul's on Ferrell.
Well, it may have reached in with that right hand. In any event, Salley is taking a seat, and Hammonds with 4 personal fouls has taken his place. Now, Allery's been good from the free throw line. He's only missed twice in the entire tournament, and is 4 out of 5 here with 12 points. He's Duke within 2 points.
John Salley going to the bench is really going to hurt Georgia Tech. He's been active inside.
There's another one.
I believe what Bobby Cremins is going to try to do is go with Tom Hammonds as long as he can, and once Hammonds fouls out, then come back with Salley.
Salley was very effective for him. 8 points in this second half, which is just half over. Price, high arching shot. Ferrell goes for it, no good. Possession will go back to Georgia Tech.
The matchup now against Mark Price is Billy King is in the game guarding Mark Price, and he's not quick enough to stay with Price. But that time he was able to keep up with Mark, and when Price tries an outside jumper, King's got enough size that he can bother it.
Over here. Over here. Over here. Switch if you need.
Price is going to take the shot, no good, way off the mark, off the hands of Ferrell, out of bounds, belongs to Duke, and now they can go ahead.
I think Billy King bothered that shot with his size.
Price is 2 for 7 in this half. That's not Mark Price shooting. Some of his shots have not been the best kinds of shots to take.
You have to credit that to the Duke defense.
Dawkins is awake again. 16 points.
Duke has so many weapons, they're just not going to stay quiet for very long.
And they're up by a point, 9:20 left.
See King working hard, trying to keep the ball away from Price.
Remember, Salley is not in there. There's Hammonds, who is. Ferrell over Allery. Allery really hurt him there, and then the ball is tipped out of bounds as Ferry tried to put it in play. Belongs to Duke.
Good defense by Allery, and then we had a clinic and blocking out inside. Watch this. Allery makes him change the shot. Ferry, King, Billis all doing a nice job on the boards.
The crowd heating up for one of the few times today. Alley-oop to Hammonds. That's the wrong man, and he gives it right back to Billis. That went from Duke to Tech to Duke, and Duke gets the score, and Jay Billis has his first points.
One of the first things coaches tell their players is in that situation, you never save the ball. You just take it and get it out of bounds, because more often than not, that's the kind of thing that happens.
Hammonds is running the ball, and a foul called by Billy King. That's his second.
Here's the play you're talking about at the other end. Now, Hammonds, there's no way he can be saving that ball back in bounds because he doesn't know where he's throwing it.
Duke has scored the last 6 points. And here is Hammonds at the free throw line for the first time. And he's an outstanding free throw shooter.
Last foul was against Billy King. That's his second foul.
1-1. Next foul by Georgia Tech, and Duke will be in a 1-1 situation.
When he's been in the game, Billy King has been doing a nice job keeping the ball away from Mark Price, and then when Price catches it, preventing him from getting off the good shot.
It is Duke by 1, 8:25 left. Here's King taking it all away, and Ferry goes to follow up, and he is fouled. Lots of fouls. This is a long basketball game.
Not a very good shot at all by Billy King. King is just not under control in this situation. I think he was hoping for the foul. Have to go check out the cameraman down there. It looked like he got a good piece of Greg Neal.
That was on Ferrell. Ferry does not get it. And not shooting too well from the free throw line, with the exception of Allery. And there's 2 more misses by Duke. Now keep in mind also that Georgia Tech, when they get in the last 5 minutes, they shoot almost 80% from the free throw line. And each team is in a 1-on-1 situation now.
These guys actually look like a couple of punch-drunk fighters just trying to get through 15 rounds, Jim.
Not much finesse there. Shot by Price, and he is way off the mark again. 2 for 5.
And once again, I think Billy King, with his size, is able to get those arms up there and force Price to put a little more arc on that shot.
Henderson is getting ready to come back in. Amaker getting ready to come back in for Duke. He's got a strong bench.
Has really done a nice job this year developing that bench.
Remember, they've also used Snyder. Whoops.
Lenny Wirtz gets the floor and calls the foul on Dwayne Ferrell. It's a tough matchup inside for Ferrell. He's trying to keep the ball away from Allery. Allery's shown you all day how to get position inside, and that's the foul on Ferrell as he grabs Allery with his left hand.
And if you're going to foul anybody in the Duke team in this tournament, do not foul Mark Allery, because he is 5 for 6 today, and in the tournament he is 15 for 17. And that's what can happen.
He's had a very good tournament.
It's both of them. Salley's going to come back in. Let's see whom they take out. They take out Mark Price. So they're going with Ferrell, Dalrymple, Salley, and Hammonds and Neal. And remember, Mark Price has not had a good shooting day at all. It's been a tough 3 days for everybody, physically, those who make it through to the end.
Mark Price, I'm sure, is just going to sit down and try to get himself collected to come back in for the stretch drive. An important period here for Georgia Tech. They can't afford to have Salley get number 5. We'll see if Duke attacks him.
Uh-oh, Ferrell almost turned it over.
Good defense.
Feeds to Hammonds, who by himself. And Tom Hammonds has 6 points in this half and 14 altogether. Duke by 1.
Tough move by Dwayne Ferrell. That penetration caused Allery to come and help, and then Hammonds was all alone.
Amaker back in. The team with Dawkins. King stays in. Henderson is in. Billis is out, and Allery, of course, is in.
Georgia Tech in the 2-3 zone.
Anderson, feed underneath to King.
Hammonds with those 4 fouls really couldn't do much to contest that shot. Good ball movement by Duke.
And the Blue Devils by 3, looking at the clock, 6:20 left.
Hammonds, don't push.
Ferrell shooting over King. No good this time. Henderson with the rebound. 5 rebounds for David Henderson.
Game has suddenly gotten very physical. You may have heard the referee yell, Hammonds don't push. Hammonds would be wise to take that advice with 4 fouls.
Henderson working over Salley, who can't do anything.
Henderson recognizes what's in there as he penetrates in. He's going right into Hammonds and Salley, who both have 4 fouls. Good play.
And Bobby Cremens is the man who's called timeout. 5:46 to go. Duke had a 9-point lead, lost it, now lead by 5.
Saw a glimpse of Coach Mike Krzyzewski there. He knows that this is Henderson's time of the game, but there's another quarter that Bobby Cremins is certainly expecting to hear from, and Mike Krzyzewski is fearing that it's going to hear from, and that's Mark Price. He has not had a good game today. He can explode at any moment.
Price is in, and so are Hammonds and Salley, each with 4 personal fouls. Cremins is going for broke in the last 5.5 minutes. Has to. Here's Price, takes the shot, no good there either. Tipped up and in, I believe, by Hammonds.
It was Dwayne Farrell.
Was it Farrell?
What a great leap by Dwayne Farrell. Once again, Mark Price did not get a clean shot at the basket.
Amaker in and no good, and Salley with a rebound.
Well, Price was down the court ahead of the pack, and Salley didn't see him.
Five minutes to go, 3-point ball game. Shot taken, no good by Hammonds. Allery with the rebound.
And Salley just knocked Billy King flat on his back.
Tell you what, they're a little slower coming down court. Dawkins is actually walking down the court now. Now he picks it up a little bit. The pace has been terrific. It's the 3rd consecutive game in as many days for each of these teams. Feed into Allery, and he's good from there. And that's not a picture shot there, but watch. Henderson loses the ball away to Salley. And here they come. This time Dawkins back very quickly. They cover up, but Dalrymple puts it in for his 2nd basket of the game, and it's a 1-point game.
Good hustle by Bruce Dalrymple. Billy King was in pretty good position, but he just didn't get down the court fast enough. Bobby Cremins is up telling his team to think out there. They're down 1 point with 4 minutes.
Here comes Henderson, and he gets the roll, and yes, he gets the basket. And the question is on whom?
It's on Dalrymple. That's the only guy there.
That's his 4th.
David Henderson, who led Duke to victory yesterday with 2 3-point plays in the last 4 minutes, drives again. Dalrymple trying to get in position. I guess it was ruled that he had not established the position. How did that ball go in?
It took a little while, didn't it? Anderson 3 of 10 from the floor, 5 rebounds, and 4 of 6 from the line, and he does not complete this 3-point play, and Duke's free throw shooting is off.
You made the point before, Jim, and it's still true that if Duke had converted a decent percentage of their free throws, they'd be way ahead.
Salley, 3 under the basket, 10 points in this half, and 15 altogether, and it's a 1-point game again.
Georgia Tech back to the man-to-man.
Oh.
They called a foul on Dalrymple.
If they did, he's out. If they did, he's out. He can't believe it. Dalrymple with but 6 points. Fouls out with 3:45 to go.
It's probably a play, Jim, that Dalrymple should not have attempted to make out there in the middle of the court like that in full view of everybody. It appeared from where we were sitting that it was a good play, that it wasn't a foul, but Lenny Wirtz was right on top of the situation. Now Dalrymple's going to make a mistake even going after the ball because he's got 4 fouls and he can't risk getting the call.
There it is. There it is. Hit him on the wrist and the ball went loose.
Dalrymple's got such aggressive instincts, though.
Okay, gentlemen, 1 point.
As I say, the replay showed that it was a good call.
Amaker at the line for the first time today, an 80% free throw shooter. Let's see if he can pick up some of the free throw shooting slack for the Blue Devils. Yep. That's his first point of this half, 7 altogether. Dalrymple, 3:45 to go, 6 points, is out.
That really hurts Georgia Tech. Dalrymple is such an aggressive player. They can really use him in crunch time like we're in right now.
5 rebounds for Dalrymple, and this is rebounding. And Amaker adds a couple.
Dalrymple only had 6 points today.
Here's Price. Georgia Tech has come from 9 down before to go ahead. They don't have that big a row to hoe, but they're without Dalrymple, and Salley and Hammonds each have 4 personal fouls.
Good help by Billis to come over and cut Price off.
Price stepping around Dawkins, and yes,
Good pump fake. Johnny Dawkins had to respect the fake because Price is a good shooter, but that's just about the first clean shot that Price has had in the entire second half.
3 minutes to go, 1-point ball game. Duke. Dawkins feeds to Allery, goes past him to Henderson, slapped away, and Dawkins gets the charging foul, his third.
Charging foul's actually on Henderson. It was Henderson who had the ball there. He and Dawkins and Allery all got tangled up. That's Henderson's fourth personal foul.
What? They're playing Russian roulette with this foul situation. Billis, and Henderson, and Hammonds, and Salley, and Dalrymple's already gone. Tech with a chance to go ahead.
Georgia Tech has played excellent zone defense, and it's amazing that they can still be in the game considering the off day that Price is having.
Oh, not going to get it. Billis gets the rebound. 2.5 minutes to go.
There you see the Tech zone. It's a 2-3 zone.
Dawkins has been rather quiet, and that's not one there, and there's a strong rebound by Farrell.
Good block out. He got Billis on his back. 2 minutes.
Coaches are letting them play. Farrell's going to take the shot, and good. Yesterday's hero puts Georgia Tech ahead today by a point with 1:50 to go.
Wayne Farrell has had a big tournament for Georgia Tech.
Dawkins puts up a prayer that looks terrific once it gets in the air. And I'm not looking for a rhyme. He had to shoot under and then over. Duke by a point.
Maintain control of the ball the entire time, though, Jim. That's what Dawkins can do so successfully. Minute 15 left to go in the game. 22 seconds on the shot clock. Duke in the man-to-man.
There's Neal taking it all the way in. This time, no slam dunk. He gets his first basket. And Tech by one with less than a minute.
Duke's defense broke down that time. Nobody came to help out.
See how much of the clock they use. Allery's not going to use any of the clock. He's going to dump it in to take the lead. Allery now with 8 points in this half and 17 altogether. Duke by a point. And time called. Time called by Georgia Tech. Championship game. What a game in Greensboro, North Carolina for the championship of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Defending champion Georgia Tech trails by 1. Now remember this, at the end of this month, either Georgia Tech or Duke could be in the final twosome for the NCAA championship, and that would be something. But in these states, and in this state of North Carolina, it's not who wins the NCAA championship, it's who's in command of the Atlantic Coast Conference. And that's what's up for grabs right here and now. And some of the reporters were even burying the University of North Carolina Tar Heels in this morning's paper after they lost in the opening round to the University of Maryland. They are rabid fans. The Tar Heels are far from dead, believe me. Far from dead.
Anybody that thinks they're dead is in for a big, big surprise.
As someone said, maybe not dead, but it might be time to look for a casket. I don't believe so. Time is still out.
You may have some situations like this with some teams. You might see a zone defense on the part of the defensive team, but Duke has been successful in the man-to-man the entire game. I think that's what we'll see. It'll be interesting to see who matches up against whom. Billy King's in the game. Henderson in the game. Duke going with a rather small lineup. Going to try to put some pressure on the guards to keep them from getting good shots inside.
Farrell, who intercepted the pass, there's no attempt there to do anything but to slow it down. Now let's see how quickly Georgia Tech wants to take that shot. They want to go for the whole bundle at the very end, or take a shot and take a chance on getting it back.
Dawkins has to try to keep Price from handling the ball again, and that's what he's trying to do.
And right now, they're not worried about the clock, except to note that there's 13. Al Price says we'll take it. And he's good from there, but Neal is short. Rebound, and it may be a two-shot foul there as Price tackled. No, they'll say it'll be 1-1. 7 seconds to go. Duke up by 1, but I think it'll be Dawkins, who's not had a good free throw shooting day, that will go to the line.
Price penetrating in, and the play is obviously, if he's covered, to pitch it off. Neal, I think, could have gotten closer. Amaker may have gotten a hand on the ball. Dawkins with the rebound as Duke blocked out very well. Here's Cremens calling the play. Get a chance to see his reaction. He knows what he wants his kids to do.
Dawkins is 4 for 8 from the line, but this is 1-1 and 7 seconds to go. He could ice it if he makes both.
But if he misses, Georgia Tech still has 7 seconds.
Oh, yeah, lots of time. There's the pressure throw. Now they're facing the probability or possibility of a tie. If he sinks it here, Georgia Tech's in trouble. They can almost, not quite, let him go the length of the court. But 7 seconds is a long time from the time the ball is inbounded. And he's got both of them. That's when he needed them. 12 points in this half, 20 altogether. And Price goes up and puts it in as time has run out. Game is over. Georgia Tech, defending champions, beaten by the #1 team in the country, Duke, 68-67. The new ACC champions. I'm Jim Simpson. Thanks to Dan Bonner for being with us. Final score again, 68-67, Duke.